What's going on, awesome people, and welcome to another episode of the Awesome People Instagram Live series. If you've never joined before and you have no idea what that means, first of all, I have a podcast called the Awesome People Podcast that I normally do at a much higher quality caliber, and then we do it out of our podcast studio. But, this month I made a public pledge to do 31 Instagram Lives with the most awesome Persian entrepreneurs, artists, and creators. Just because IG Live is just so much more convenient, efficient, cost effective, all that jazz. So here we are with another episode. This is number 6 of 31. And my guest is actually a dear friend of mine of a long time, musician, composer, really good dude, great family man, a lot of passion for family, creativity, and giving back. So those are the type of people that I love to associate myself with. And even though we don't see each other in person as much as we'd like, we have this really great connection. And so when I was thinking of people that I want to have and have a little chit chat with, Amir is always on top of mind, especially because he is a great performer. And so I felt like you guys will enjoy seeing a live performance of him jamming it out in his studio out in San Jose, California. So really appreciative of you guys joining today. I see some people here. Happy Sedi, how are you? Vahid, how you doing? Hamid, Chatori, Mahtab Hariri is here. I'm going to have her as a guest in a few days from Intrigue Yellow. Styles Basuri, what's up? I see Amir is there too. Tony, how you doing? Anyways, the point is, I appreciate you guys being here, and I hope that these conversations in some shape or form entertain you, enlighten you, motivate you, inspire you, put you in a better mood. And on that note, for those of you who've been joining, I like to add this little part into all these IG Lives, and it's basically like a little 10 seconds of gratitude, where I just want to take a moment out of our crazy day and just be grateful for, certain things that I'm grateful for, but I also want it to be an opportunity for you to take a moment and appreciate all the important things in life that we sometimes take for granted. So if you don't mind, give me 10 seconds of your time and just think of whatever it is that you're grateful for. 10 seconds, let's go. All right, there we go. Hopefully you took a moment to enjoy something and be appreciative of something that you're happy about, grateful for, and all that good stuff. It really does help when you're down. It's a nice little pick-me-up. So I highly encourage you doing 10 seconds of gratitude a day. It does wonders. I think that's enough of me talking. I think it's time to bring on a good-looking dude like Amir, who also has some talent. So if he's already made that connection, which I don't think he has, Amir John, if you don't mind, click that join button and let's join this conversation. I don't see the notification yet. So, Amir, if you're having any kind of technical issues, be sure to let me know in the chat. But hopefully you'll be joining us. There you are. Hold on, maybe I have to do one more button. Oh, there he is. What's up,
Hey
Amir?
man, how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
Great. I don't
Uh,
know if maybe it's just you. Can you bring your camera up a little bit so we
yeah,
can
yeah,
see
yeah. I
the
kind of like too low. I gotta find something here.
oh yeah, you were trying to make sure you show the studio and the setup, which is
I
all great,
know, man.
man. And why you getting situated? How are you? How's the family?
Everyone's good, man. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there too, man. Just staying busy with these things. These IG lives, I'm very happy that I've done it, but they're extremely time consuming. And I'm
I
like,
have
man,
no idea,
I did not realize that.
bro. I think you overcommitted. I mean, props to you, but how you're doing this many is beyond me.
It's a lot, but I'm enjoying it. But I will tell you one thing. I think because I haven't booked like every single guest for all 31 days yet. I'm
I would
kind of going like
imagine,
one
yeah.
week at a time. And then just today, I was like, you know what? I might have to take a mental health day, and I'll just do an IG live just for mental health. Cause like, even when you're doing something that's good for the soul, like this is good for the soul. I love this, honestly. Like
Yeah, of course,
it's great because there's a lot of work into it. I'm like, man, oh man, is it too overwhelming where it's almost damaging the root cause? And so I don't want that to be happening. So I might take one day off at some point, but we'll see what
bro.
happens,
Even 30 out of 31 is you should take Christmas off.
Actually, Aras from Toronto already agreed to do Christmas. I was like,
Oh,
man, if I have somebody that wants to hang out with me on
you
Christmas,
guys,
God bless you. Yeah,
you got your
yeah,
Christmas episode taken care of. Yeah,
yeah.
man,
I
it's a
was like,
lot, dude. I mean, anything. Listen, man, anything creative, and you kind of touched on it before I joined on, but like anything that you do that's creative in any way, shape, or form is time consuming, especially if you want to do it like
Right.
right, you know? So
Right.
it's hard. Like I'm fascinated with YouTube. Like the world of YouTube, I think, is like ridiculous, and as huge as it is, it's still like nothing compared to what it will eventually be. And like there are people out there who literally put out videos every day. There's people out there that literally put out like 3 videos a day. And I'm sitting here like, how do you do this?
Well,
You
I mean, what you have to do a whole team. I mean, even the stuff
know?
that we do, like, you know how we have a team, and it's just like, it's really like it's a massive productional efforts when it gets to the point where those people have like millions of followers. It's like, it's incredible. It's a cool full-time bit. I mean, that is the hope for Unite and Conquer. You know, it's doing the same exact thing. Unite and Conquer, having a YouTube channel where we continue to shine a bright light on people like yourselves, man. Just like awesome Persians doing awesome things, being great husbands, being great fathers, working on their craft. No, I'm serious. Like,
Right.
I like, it doesn't have to be somebody that has millions of followers. I want real, authentic stories, you know, of like what people are doing every day to represent us in the best way, because that's what you've been doing. You know, through music, you represent the very best parts of being Persian, you know, and like that's music and that's the art. And so that's why I wanted you to be here. But for those who don't know Amir Khostavan, can you give them a little mini bio in your own words and introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm an Iranian American, born in the U.S. I've lived here my whole life. I've actually never been to Iran, but I can speak the language fluently. I know the culture, you know, fluently, obviously, and I started playing piano, masalan, when I was 2. But yeah, there's footage of me playing at 2. I'm not playing. I'm like, you know, doing this. But I started taking lessons.
Basically doing what I'm doing at my age. Yes, I got you.
But I started taking lessons at 6 formally, and I've just been playing piano ever since. And then I picked up the guitar sometime in like middle school, and I like kind of through my dad taught me like a few chords, and then from there I just kind of learned how to play. I was really big into Nirvana. I was really big into Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Guns N' Roses and Metallica and Megadeth and etc. And those are the bands that like I gravitated toward. So I really got into rock music, like super like all my friends were listening to hip hop and rap. They were listening to Tupac and Biggie, and I was rocking out to like Nirvana and Foo Fighters and stuff. And so eventually brought piano kind of back into my life, and I've been playing professionally, I guess, since I was like, you know, 18. And, you know, I've played a ton of shows around the world. My mom is a singer, so I've done a bunch of shows with her, Mariam Jalali. I have a very good family friend who I will name drop because why not? I've known Bijan Mortazavi since I was born. And so I've had the honor of playing music with him many, many times all over the world, in Canada and the US. And we've recorded music together, played on music together. He's played violin on one of my songs and all that kind of stuff. So I've been in and out of the business, you know, a bunch in the last, you know, 20, 30 years. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing. And
let me, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna promo drop. I just put out an album, so I have an album that just came out called AWESOME, which has 11 songs on there. I have 2 Persian covers on there, so I have a cover of Khawaii Talayi on there that every Persian kid in some way, shape, or another has learned how to play piano on. And then I did my own version of Khawaii Talayi as well, and that's on there. And then there's a handful of originals on there as well.
So just based on a few things that you just said, I have a couple of follow-up questions. So you mentioned all these American rock bands, all that influence that you were going through in the teenage years. And then all of a sudden in 2009, you drop a song that went pretty viral, with a few 100,000 views, very popular, very catchy. Roger Lab, you know, and you're giggling and you're laughing, which probably means that you have a love and hate perhaps relationship with the song or the Persian industry in general. And that's actually why I wanted to kind of like, that's what I wanted to start off with, because I want you to kind of tell me how you went from that American rock and Nirvana stuff to all of a sudden Persian, and then like how that experience was. And then also like your overall like experience of like yeah, I mean, man, I tried the Persian market, but it was this, and it was this. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want you
Yeah.
to kind of take me back to those years.
I'll spill some tea, as they say. So,
Okay.
because why not at this point?
Yeah.
My parents are both musicians, both Persian. My mom, Mariam Jalali, grew in Iran, was known as Sali or Sally, or Sali, and so she sang some songs with oh my goodness, why am I blanking on his name? Uh, the super famous Persian guy who had his own like late night TV show like back in the 60s. So
Farrokhzad.
Farrokh Zad. So
Yeah.
she did some songs with him. Um, they did some duets together, and then she came here and she put out an album back in '92, and et cetera, et cetera. So Persian music was always in my background.
Well, and you were born with Bija Mortazavi essentially serenading you
right. I
and
mean,
giving
like
you lullabies.
hung out with him all the time. I'm like his son is one of my best friends. Um, And so, like, Persian music was always the soundtrack of my upbringing. As much as I was listening to rock music and stuff, and still do, Persian music, specifically that Persian music, '80s Persian music, '70s Persian music, was my soundtrack. Kind of growing up, and so I always liked Persian music. I just never thought that I could pull it off because, like, I have like an accent when I speak Farsi. Like, it's not like super obvious, but it's there. And I will be the first person to tell you that I cannot write Farsi lyrics. Like, I cannot write shir at all. And it is very hard to write lyrics in Farsi. Like, it's really hard to write lyrics in Farsi. You have to like be like on your game, especially when we have like, I mean, look at it, bro. In our culture, when you have Hafiz and you have Rumi, okay, and you have like two of the greatest generational poets in the world,
The bar is high.
the bar is high. You can't be like saying like man down too much, call out a cat. Well, like you can't like that. That's just it doesn't work.
It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. And so like I took that to heart, and I'll be very honest. Like when Audash came out and he did his things, and let's call a spade, his lyrics are nothing special. I looked at that. I was like, I could do that.
Nice.
That was the goal that I went for, and it worked. And truth be told, I didn't write Roja Lab. A friend of mine, Iman Huschmand, who is still very active in the Persian music industry, and he's great. I would recommend checking his stuff out. He's got a phenomenal voice. The dude is super talented.
Yeah.
He wrote that, and it was originally supposed to be for him. And then he's like, you know what? You take this. I was doing him a favor at the time. I was kind of helping him out. He had just moved to America and all that kind of stuff. So he was staying with me, et cetera, et cetera. And so as like a thank you, he's like, he gifted me Roja Lab. And I was like, no. I was like, no, let's just figure it out. And within like a few hours, we had it out. I had like my laptop, and we just kind of played it and figured out the arrangement and the song and then this and then that. To answer the second part of your question, the Iranian music industry, nothing soured me on it. Truth be told, I had like a record contract ready to go and everything. I was signed, it was ready to go, like the album was supposed to come out, and then they took forever. They wouldn't answer my calls, they wouldn't, whatever, like we were ready to go. And so I remember sending an email to them. I won't name drop them, but I remember sending an email to them saying, you know what, I'm just gonna do this myself. So I self-released the record, I self-produced the record, I self-financed all the music videos and all that kind of stuff, whatever. And Radio Javon at the time was really new, really, really new. They had like just launched, like Yotu was like the more higher up site, and then Hamid and his team had like just put together like Radio Javon. And Hamid Judy, like I just sent him an email like, hey bro, like I'm blah 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 blah, and Hamid and I became really close. And we struck a friendship. And
for those who don't know, Hamid Hashemi is one of the founders of Radio Javon.
Yes. And so he and I established a friendship and a relationship, and it just kind of went back and forth. And I asked him for his opinion on stuff, and he would give me his 2 cents and whatever. And so, to be honest, a lot of the reason why that song took off the way it did is because of them. They needed content, and I was giving it to them, and they pushed it. And so and I mean it is the true definition of a team effort. I'm smiling because the guy who I don't want to name drop you, bro, but the guy who just joined the video, the guy who's just watching the video right now, he's one of the directors of Roger Lab. So,
Oh, okay.
that's why I'm smiling. We're talking about Roger Lab, right? But it was truly a team effort. Like Roger Lab, from the way that the song was composed to the way that the video was made to the way that we shot the video in 2 days, separated by 2 months. So we shot all the scenes of like me singing to camera one day, and then we shot all the scenes of like me with the girl 2 months later, because we were like trying to make the video work as just like me by myself, and we figured that like it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so like 2 months later or somewhere around that time we shot it, and then Radio Javon kind of putting all their team together and pushing it. It truly was like a collaborative effort. And so that song did well and did what it did. I don't have any negative feelings towards the Iranian market at all. It's just that the truth of the matter is that the market, and this is that. I'm not familiar with the market now. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. But the market then wanted very specific music, and I can't write 10 Roger Labs. I don't have it in me to write 10 Roger Labs. Yeah. I can write a Roger Lab, and I can write a slower song, and I can write like a rock song, and I can write like a hip hop song, and I can write this song, and I can write that song. But I can't write 10, you know, I just can't. You know, it's just not in me, right? And there's nothing wrong with people that do that. I just can't do it. And so I don't think me and the market were like a good match. So that's why it kind of, I voluntarily just kind of took myself out. I've dipped my toe in there a few times since, but that's because like I'll write a song like Rakhse Elhum, or I'll write a song like where like I'm like, this song is too good, I can't not put this out. And so I'll put it out, and then it'll do its thing, and then I'll disappear again, because I'm very much, you know, I like I said, I don't have 20 of those in me. I have like one here, and I have one here, and I have one here, and I just put those out, and then that's it.
But like, I feel like as an artist, for you to kind of reach that conclusion was very mature of you, because there's a lot of artists who they continue try to like almost force themselves into a certain market that like, it's not a good fit, you know? And like, so was your decision an easy one? And you're like, wait, this is just not for me. I'm not able to cater to this market. Let me go after other things. Or did you have like a tug of war about it? Like, how easy was it to kind of like take a step back and be like, I'm going to focus on other things?
It was weird, man. Like if I'm being truthfully honest, I had conversations with people very high up in the industry who really did want to help me. Like really big names that were, you know, super beneficial in giving me their time and really caring about my career and where it can go and what we can do and that kind of stuff. But nothing that we talked about like hit me the way that I wanted it to hit me, if that makes sense. Like, I very specifically, and maybe it's my Achilles heel, but like I'm stubborn in the sense of like, I know the content I want to make. I know for a fact what that content is, and I won't
compromise. Yeah. Well, you're that's what makes an artist, you know?
Sure, but it's also detrimental in the sense that like, you know, there are times where compromises do need to be made in order for you to go like from here to here, let's say masala. But like for me, I guess the way I look at it is this. And it's kind of morbid. But like when I'm not here anymore, you know, we eventually all leave, you know, this earth in one way or another. When I'm not here anymore, I want the content that I made to be something that I'm super proud of, that like my family's super proud of, that my kids are super proud of, you know, that my grandkids are super proud of. Like that's what I want. I don't want to make content because like at that particular time, this type of music was really hot. And so like I made a ton of that. And then like 5 years later, it's like, it sounds super old and super whatever and, you know, corny and whatever. Like I won't release music unless every fiber of my being is like rocking out to it. You know what I mean? And like to this day, like Roger Lab, like there's things like when I hear that song, like there's things I'm like, oh, because like I wish I had sang it better, or I wish I had mixed it better, or I wish I had done this better, or I wish I had done that better. But as a whole, it's a good song, and like there are, and And I feel the same way with like BW. I feel the same way with Last of Us. I feel the same way with like all the songs I released. And something like, could my singing have been better? Yes. Could the production have been better? Yes. But like as a whole, the song is good. And
Yeah.
so like I look at it from that perspective. And this album that I just put out, that's my album that I just put out, front to back, I'm really proud of that record. Like I feel like it's a good representation of who I am as a musician. It's a good representation of the direction of stuff that I like to do. There's a song that, you know, my dad, you know, introduced to me, like a melody that he's been asking me to work on forever. And the only reason why it hasn't been worked on or it hasn't been released is because it's not there yet. You know, like I could have released it 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever, but like I didn't because it's almost there, but it's not there. You know, there's something missing and I'm not quite sure what it is, and piecing that together and figuring it out and then bringing that to light. That's what I want to do more so than anything, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, the Persian market I think is fantastic. I think there are a lot of great artists in there, new and old, who are doing their things. It amazes me, to be honest with you, that there are artists like Bijan and others who like to this day are still relevant and still doing their thing. Like that doesn't happen in the American market. In the American market, you've got like, you know, the greats from
Couple
like
years.
yeah, the 60s and 70s, but like that's it. You know, like but for these dudes to be relevant and still be playing shows and still be packing, you know, arenas and clubs and stuff is impressive. It's awesome.
Well, because quality is always timeless, you know, like, so they
Yeah.
put out quality, that's why. But you mentioned your mom and your dad, and, you know, most Persians, for example, if they say that, hey, mom, dad, I want to go into the Persian or music industry, maybe Persian music industry, the traditional parents would probably say, no, 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 no. You
Mm-hmm.
were born into parents that were already in that world.
Mm-hmm.
So from the very beginning, did they basically encourage you and embrace you? Is that what happened? Or even though they were in the industry in many ways, were they saying, hey, Amir, you know, times have changed. We're now out of Iran. We're coming here. There's so much more opportunity. What type of conversations were your parents having with you when you were raised in the 90s in the US?
I had the most supportive parents in the world, from a creative standpoint, from anything really. Um, I, you know, I think being the byproduct of creative individuals, you know, both of them kind of helped in this nothing is impossible kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the whole doctor, lawyer, engineer thing was never pushed on me. I don't think there was ever like an expectation for me to be any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the expectation for me was to be a good musician, you know, and to practice and to be good and to be better. Like my parents, like my dad, like wouldn't get mad at me. Like if I came home with like a B plus, he'd get mad at me if I didn't practice the piano for an hour a day. You know, real.
And
And like
90% of Persians cannot relate to what you're saying whatsoever, by the
right,
way.
yeah, no, and that was the thing, like that's what made me better, you know, that's what made me like appreciate music and stuff. And so, and you know, the truth of the matter is, I mean, I don't know if I ever have like, you know, ADD or anything like that, but like me in school um didn't mesh, let's just say it that way, you know. And that's because like the teacher, it's like, you know, those Charlie Brown episodes where the teacher's talking and all you hear is wah, 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 wah. Like that's all I heard,
Yeah,
because in my head all I was hearing was music.
yeah.
All I was hearing was like songs I'd heard on the radio or songs that, you know, because back then, you know, there wasn't no Spotify or anything where you can like instantly listen to whatever you wanted. So like I would hear a song, I would love it, and then like I'd have to wait for the radio to play it again, or I'd have to wait for MTV to play it again, or I'd have to wait for, you know, whatever. So in the meantime, I'd like repeat it in my head until I could hear it again, you know, in life. And so, my memory for music just, you know, was like a sponge. It just kept expanding. And so to the point where like I can hear a song right now that I haven't heard in 20 years and I'll know it front to back. But like
Amazing.
you told me something about, I don't know, some psychological, you know, journal entry that came out yesterday. I'll forget it in 5 minutes. Not because I'm not interested. It's just that my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like my
It
brain works.
it captures that information and just
It
sticks to
captures
it like glue.
music really well. You know, some musicians have see, for me, I thought this was normal, but like I'm actually really good at hearing something, and as it's playing, I can figure it out pretty much instantaneously. And so I thought that was like normal, you know, and then I met other musicians who, like, truth be told, did not like me because I could do that. And so I found out rather quickly once I started associating with other musicians and I was playing in bands and I was doing this and that, I'm like, oh, this isn't normal. Like, being able to do this and hearing it. Because for me, like, I don't hear notes. Like, I'm not listening to music and I'm like, oh, they're playing this note and this note. I'm hearing patterns and I'm hearing like spaces. So I'm hearing, like, if a song is playing, I'll hear, oh, okay, like when the singer's going from here to here, you know, he or she's going up this many notes, and he or she's going down this many notes, or the chords are going, like, you know, this many spaces this way.
You're studying and forecasting the entire song.
I'm visualizing it more so than anything. Like, I'm when I used to teach music, I used to tell people, like, hey, like, if you're on C and you're going to go to E, you skip over D. Visualize it like you're going up steps. Like, so instead of you're on this step and you go to the next step, you skip over that step and you go to the next one. So if I'm on C and I skip over a step, what note am I on now? You know, that is E. And so that's the way I look at things and I listen to things.
So a few minutes ago, you were talking about how, like, you know, when you leave this world, you want to make sure that you leave footprints that you're proud of, you know. And we're at the intermission of our little IG live, and there are some people over here that have never heard your music. And I would love for you to just turn around, play a song that you are proud of, that you love, and then come back and we'll carry on this conversation, if you don't mind.
I gotta think of one.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, do whatever it is that your soul is speaking to right now. Play a song and we'll keep on talking after this little short break.
This chair, by the way, that I'm on is the wrong chair. Like, this is so high for me right now. My other chair broke, but
if you make any mistakes, I'll make sure to make a note of that at the end of it.
Let me see, what song do I want to play? Oh, okay. I'll do this one.
Hell yeah, my man. Hell yeah. Sorry, I'm waving to all the wonderful people that have given us the pleasure and joining us. If you enjoyed that song, please, everybody, make a little comment, show him some love, and be sure to follow Amir because he does these kind of things quite often. And I keep on encouraging him to do as many IG lives so more people can be blessed with your talents, man. So tell us a little backstory. Like, why did you choose this song? What's so meaningful? I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, obviously. What was it that made you choose this song?
Thanks, man. That was a song called Breathe. I just actually made a video for it not too long ago. So if you go on amirkhostavan.com or check my Instagram, you can see that video. That song is one of the last songs that I wrote for my album, and it's called Breathe because it's a song that I wrote in the midst of dealing with some anxiety and dealing with some kind of stuff, and it in me trying to express how I was feeling at the time, like that's the melody that came out, and that's the song that came out, and it doesn't really sound like anything else on the album. Like it's very obviously, someone's calling me. I'm sorry. It's very obviously a Middle Eastern with the, you know, like it has like that Middle Eastern kind of tinge to it. But the chord structure, so you know, it's very Western. So it is the perfect marriage of like who I am as a person. Like I am 100% unique. Like my parents are Persian, but I was born and raised here. You know, so like it's California by way of Iran, or like however you like, you know, figure that out. But it's got both worlds in there, which will always be what I make. Well, any type of music that I make always kind of needs to. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments and I love them. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll put them for modern talking. Let's do it.
Well, I guess no, because I don't know if she knows, but I host a tour, so maybe we can make it happen where you have the opening set over there.
Let's do it.
Oh, there's your mom, by the way.
That's my mom.
Yeah, I mean, a talented vocalist in her own right,
man,
of course.
If you need awesome people, you know, I'll throw her name in the mix, bro. She's
absolutely.
She is. It's my mom, so I'm just gonna say this. My opinion here, but in my opinion, like of all the infamous Iranian voices that we've had, female Iranian voices that we've had, she's up there. She matches up with them for sure. You know, and it's a crime that she's not as well known as she is. She chose raising a family over being a pop star, and I commend her for that, and I appreciate her for that, because, you know, she
raised a great son. That's the beneficiary, which is much better than being a pop star.
But even today, man, she can blow some people out of the water. She can sing. She can.
Well, I mean that's just I'm sorry to cut you off, but you know, these are the sacrifices that our parents made as immigrants. You know, like I mean, if she was in Iran, perhaps she would have had a bigger name because that's all her focus. But then when you're dealing with all the challenges of immigration life, but what a gift she gave to the world by raising an awesome person like you, man. So it's actually wonderful. And you do have somebody who's asking if you're open to collaborations.
Always.
Always, yeah. No, I could definitely vouch for the fact that Amir is definitely a perfect unite and conquer. You know, like there are certain individuals that I like to have a part of my community, and Amir is definitely one of those individuals. Fred Parvona, do you know Amir, by the way? I mean, Amir, do you know Fred Parvona?
I don't. No.
There's an awesome Instagram page called Inspiring Iranians, which he created a long time ago. He's also the creator of Kehan Life. I'm having him as a guest in the coming days. I forget the date. He's asking a question. I love Marjan Farsad, who's a very talented artist. Do you know her? What are your thoughts about Marjan Farsad?
I'm not familiar, no.
No, you should definitely check out. She actually has one really great one with a very cool video. If you put Marjan Farsad, I'm pretty sure it's one of the higher ranking videos that she has. And I think it's a style. I think the reason why because Fred knows the type of rock music, so he definitely is suggesting that for a reason. You will definitely like Marjan Farsad.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, but how nice of him. He's like, he's scheduled for a post. So you're going to be on the Inspiring Iranians page.
Awesome.
And Fred is really a jewel in our community for doing, doing this. And that is to showcase great Iranian talent. He focused on Iranian Americans, you know, and so just good collaboration right there too.
I love that. Thank you.
But yeah, so you know, you touched briefly on Breathe having had part of like the healing process that you were going through as you were dealing with your personal issues, and like you know, like how much credit do you give to music to be able to have gotten you through a lot of tough days?
A lot. You know, I am a person, you know, I just turned 40, and in looking back in the last 39 years of my life, I realized that a lot of the things that I thought were me just having like a bad day, or me just being in a bad mood, or me just being, you know, whatever, was me dealing with like stuff, me dealing with like anxiety, or me dealing with like, you know, personal issues that I was having, or mental health issues, or anything like that. And I truly think that the two things that have kept me sane, like throughout the trials and tribulations of everyday life, you know, and everyone has good days and bad days, some more than others, um, are two things. And number one is my family, and number two is music. Like, I, I have never been like a hardcore drinker. I've never been a hardcore smoker. I've barely, if anything, ever, you know, done anything. Hi, come say hi.
Oh, nice.
So, you know,
Hey, baby girl.
yeah, this is my little girl. She's showing you a leaf.
What's her name again?
This is Iris.
Iris, that's right.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
I actually have two songs on my album called For Iris. There's a part one and a part two.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that's Iris. But yeah, like, you know, music and family, both of those like kept me centered. You know, it kept me from like doing things I shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? Like it kept me from, you know, I mean, I got in trouble, but like I didn't get like too much trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like I always kind of like towed that line, because I always was focused on my craft. I was always focused on like being a good musician and being a. Eat this leaf. I'm not gonna eat that leaf right now. No.
You shouldn't eat the leaf at any time.
Don't eat the leaf. Don't eat the leaf. Probably not.
By the way, what a beautiful moment right now that I see your mom on here. I can only imagine how happy she is to see her son and her granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I'm loving the virtual family affair right now. But okay, carry on.
Always, man. It follows me everywhere. It follows me everywhere. But yeah, no, I credit music a lot. I credit my family, and I credit music a lot. You know, I credit like the loved ones around me, the friends that I have. You know, my wife, my extended family, my in-laws, everyone that I've been surrounded with. You know, thankfully, in one way, shape, or another, has like kept me grounded. Like if I ever wanted to like steer in a direction that was too destructive or anything like that, I was able to be brought back. And music had a lot to do with that. It's allowed me to express myself a lot without having to like, I don't know, you know, like a cry for help or anything like that. I've always been able to just like write, breathe, or write, you know, other songs. I have a song that I wrote back when I was singing a lot called Don't Say a Word. And that song is a song where I was going through a breakup, and I was going through some hard times, and, you know, I was getting ghosted by this girl that I was like in love with, and blah, blah, blah. And Don't Say a Word came out, and it was a song that I wrote in like 10 minutes. And like, those who have heard it have always told me that like that's one of their favorite songs by me, because of, you know, the subject matter or the lyrics that are in there or whatever. And so I've always held that to heart. Like I've always been like, I have this ability to take whatever I'm doing, or take whatever I'm feeling, and transfer it to music in some way, shape, or form, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's been a gift for sure.
So there was one thing that you also kind of, and this is, I want to share this with everybody. You know, usually when I have guests on, you know, I want to ask them like, you know, what are you most passionate about? What do you want to talk about? Mm-hmm. What's in your heart? And when I asked Amir this question, his answer was family. That was great. That was first answer. And then it was about creativity, and it was about giving back. So we obviously saw your family right here with us, Iris, and you talked about that. Talk about giving back. How important is that in like what you do to just seize every day?
You know, when I told you about like how I was in school, right? Like I wasn't like the best student or anything like that, nor that I aspire to be. But what's funny is that I found that in life, as I grew older, I started teaching piano, like as a side hustle, like 10 years ago. And then like it became a full-time job, where at one point I was teaching 60 students a week. Oh, wow. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved being able to see a person's, you know, journey of being a novice to being an expert, or being an intermediate to an expert, or being a novice to a little bit better or whatever. And I got really good at it, you know, and um, I love passing down what I have learned in life, whether it's music, whether it's dealing with anxiety, whether it's how to eat better, whether it's I've experimented on myself a lot. Let's just say that. Like in the last like 10 years, I've tried different things of like I don't drink caffeine, and there's a very specific reason I don't drink caffeine, because it messed with my energy levels and this, that, whatever. And the next thing is like, okay, cool. That's a conversation that I can have with someone. I stopped eating fast food like 8 years ago because it was wreaking havoc on my stomach, and it was doing this, that, whatever. The next thing. That's a conversation I have with people. So there's no shortage of like, life experiences that I've had and will continue to have, because I'm only 40. And I love passing down that information to people. I'm also really big into like doing charitable stuff, I've worked with a few nonprofits in the past, and would love to continue doing so. I'm really passionate about helping out people, people that are struggling, underprivileged people, all that kind of stuff. And so any opportunity that I get to do something, whether it's create something, I have a background in video production, so a lot of my music videos, I've worked on, or I know people in the industry or whatever. And so to do that kind of stuff and give back is really important to me. And so, I think I'm at the stage in my career, in my life, where it's not about me anymore. It's about my family. It's about, my friends, my inner circle, but it's also about those who need help in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, they want to learn a skill and they're not quite sure how to do it. I have people that come to me and ask me for like music advice all the time. They're like, how do I make it? I'm like, how do you make it? I don't know. If I knew the answer to that question, I'd there too. But I can tell you what you can work on, and I can tell you, this needs more work, or never stop practicing, or never stop learning. My brother-in-law is actually a pretty famous painter. His name is Ali Banisat, and he has works that are displayed all over the world in museums and this, that, whatever. The next thing, the dude, and he's legit. If you ever have the opportunity, like, look him up. He's
maybe I should have him as one of my guests at the end of the month. You'd be taking off a lot of pressure off me by having a guest.
I will do an email exchange and see if
all
we
right.
can make it. But yeah, he's been featured on BBC. Like he's right. legit. Like he's really, really good. And it blows my mind that a dude of his caliber and of the success that he's had, and it's what he does full time. It's his living. Like that's what he does, and he's done very well for himself doing it. Is still like I was at his house. He lives in New York. I was at his house, 2 weeks ago in New York, and he's sitting there, reading a book, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm studying this artist, and I don't know why I'm blanking on the name. Super famous artist right now. But I'm studying on this artist. I'm like, why? He's like, oh, well, first off, like I want to see like what his skill set was and how he did this and how he did that. But I'm also giving a talk, and I need to learn more about this thing, and I need to learn about that thing. Like him at that stage in his career where he's made it, by all accounts, he's made it. He's still studying. He's still learning. He's still getting better. He's still, learning new techniques and trying new things to better his art and to better his things when he doesn't need to. He could ride the coattails of what he's done for the last 10 years forever until the day he retires, but he's not doing that. He's pushing himself to get better. And so that's my advice to like anyone, including myself. It's like, the next song I make has to be better than the last song I made, and the next song I make has to be better than that song. And it's a challenge to myself where like I'll feel disappointed if I make a song where sonically, arrangement, performance, mix, music video, marketing, if any of those fail in comparison to what I did before, it didn't work. I have to, push forward and do that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, the gift that you keep on giving the world is your music, and this is like probably the fastest that I've had IG lives go. We're like 45 minutes in, which is crazy. that
Yeah.
means that we're having a great conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
I would love for you to serenade our guests one more
Sure.
time, and if you wanted to be, you surprise us, and then after you play that one, I really would love for you to play Rakhse Elhum. I know I'm super biased, and
Sure.
I've had you play it so many times,
Oh, my
but
pleasure.
I will leave one more thing to say here right now, and that is that what I personally appreciate about your music is that, to me, it's like evergreen. It's like it's not a song or it's always enjoyable listening to your music. They're very timeless to me. So just know that that's the type of impact that your music has on me, and I appreciate your talents incredibly.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So enjoy your song, and ladies and gentlemen, sit back, enjoy. If you have a glass of wine, grab it and hal konin.
All right, here we go. This is a it's called the river. The river flows through it, or something like that.
Oh wow, like the old school. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know this one?
Yeah. I would like everybody to please show the applause sign if you enjoyed that. And obviously, whatever you're hearing here, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't do it justice. You have to go to amirkhostavan.com. You have to follow his page, listen to the high quality music, go to his Spotify, follow
Please do.
his Spotify,
Apple Music, Spotify, the whole nine.
Apple, yeah,
Yeah.
and anywhere, and just go ahead and drown yourself in Amir Khostavan jams and music, and I hope that it makes your night happier as you end this wonderful Monday. Amir, man, you said a lot of great and beautiful things, but if there is something else you wanted to say to those watching and who will be watching when it goes on YouTube, feel free to share. The virtual stage is all yours.
Iman, first off, I always appreciate that you take the time to highlight not only myself, but so many people, that you're connected with and in the industry and all that kind of stuff. The amount of time that you take to shed a spotlight on people is it's special.
It's special. My pleasure. That's what
I appreciate that. No, man, every opportunity that I get to showcase, my talent and my art is unique and special to me, and I appreciate the opportunity. I do hope that in 2022, more songs will come out. I'm hoping that to do a live show in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a stream or in person or whatever. With a band and all that kind of stuff. So there are aspirations to do that. There are aspirations to make more music, but, I just appreciate the opportunity. I really do. So thank you.
Good, man. And actually, one more thing that I want to take up your time on is, everything we're doing at Unite and Conquer, the goal is to unite English-speaking Persians like you and I, the ones that kind of like, we don't know which side of the pond we belong, even though we love both sides of it, and I want to know how we can help bring the Persian community even more. So every time I want to do these interviews, I want to hear from my guests on what else we can do as a Persian community to continue to unite us, to continue to empower us, enlighten us, entertain us, and strengthen us. If you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know now.
I think the one thing that I will say, and the one thing that I've always kind of harped on, is I've always found it interesting that, the American community or even the Spanish community, the Latin community, they'll have a Grammys, they'll have an Oscars. The Persian community won't do that. And the reason being that it's a very competitive community. It's putting one person down in order to raise another person up. And if there's anything that I've learned in my 40 years of life and living here and being here is that there's enough room for everybody. There really is. And, people like Iman, for example, and others that I've met who have been gracious enough to, give a dude like me who's in San Jose, California, not the biggest following or whatever, an opportunity to spotlight is amazing. And it doesn't take anything away from the others who, have the spotlight already or whatever. I've always found it interesting that we don't especially the artists that are well-known artists don't collaborate more with newer artists. I've always found that interesting. Where somebody and I'm just throwing a name out there, like an Ebby, for example. I'm just saying. I'm not picking him. I'm just saying. Collaborate with someone who just got into the market 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever, who has maybe a hit or two, to bring them a little more clout, to bring them a little more thing, and simultaneously bring some recognition in Ebby's direction. It works both ways. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying Ebby. I'm just that's an example.
No, of course.
I feel like it's amazing what we've done, and it's amazing that we're at as a community. And I would agree with that. I agree with the comment that they would only be if the artists are super talented. But I would argue that there's a lot of super talented artists out there who just aren't given the platform.
Yeah. And they're like diamonds in the rough that you just have to kind of seek them out.
They are there. They are there. I've met them. They are supremely talented and are very good at what they do.
You're literally one of them. The reason I have you on so often, I'm like, my goodness gracious. Yes, we have a lot of talented musicians, and I get that, but you are for sure one of those. Definitely.
Yeah, and the thing is at the end, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Is collaborating and working with people and bringing someone up doesn't mean that you have to take a step down. It means that both of you can go up together. It means that both of you can work together, right? Yeah. So I feel like as much progress as this community has made, as much progress as we've made, in all of these years, there is still room to do more. There's still room to do it. And again, to comment on the music business, I agree. I agree that it's difficult to make money in the music business. There are ways around that though, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like there's opportunity, there. For example, I'm not going to name names, but Iranian artists, if they were to put their music on Spotify and iTunes and this, that, whatever, and push it there, they would make money as opposed to promoting it on websites that are not going to compensate them for that material, right?
Mm.
There are ways around it, right? You just have to kind of figure out how to do it, build a team, build that kind of stuff, and go forward with doing that, right? So I think the opportunity is there, and I think that the Iranian community, listen, they're the nicest, most giving community there is. I just feel like sometimes we need to like grab someone's hand and bring them up with us. As we're going up, grab someone with you and go up with you too, because I think it helps everyone in the long run.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Love it, man. That's a perfect way I would want this to end. And if anyone was watching, if you have those diamonds in the roughs that you might know that you think that I should put a little spotlight on them, please send me their profile. I would love to kind of learn more about them and hopefully have them on a future episode. I'm doing these 31 IG Lives in December, but the reality is I'm going to continue to do more and more interviews, whether they're IG Lives or Awesome People podcasts. So anyone who's watching, please, 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 if you know of somebody awesome, a Persian, awesome entrepreneur, artist, creator, please go ahead and message me their profile, and I look forward to learning more about them. So Amir, thank you so much, man, for taking time out of your Monday evening and say hello to the family, and hopefully we'll see you soon in person. It's been way too long.
I would love that, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Much love. Good night. And ladies and gentlemen, as Amir logs off, tomorrow night, my guest is Amir Zonozi, who is the founder and the president of Zoomf, which is really an incredible platform and software that he's created, that he works with all the major sports brands, NBA, NFL. Like it's incredible what he's done in the last few years. And it's going to be a great conversation tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Amir Zonozi. And Made in CCP, bring Thomas Anders. We are actually. The U.S. tour continues next August. If you click the link in my bio, you see that we're coming to L.A., we're coming to New York, to Boston. I want to say Chicago. I want to, for sure, Houston. I should know the whole itinerary, but we're coming to Starlight Bowl back to back. Anyways, click the link in my bio. You see the entire Modern Talking and Thomas Anders tour. And so hopefully we'll see you there. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Much love. Be kind. And hopefully we'll see you soon. And definitely tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys for joining.